What is good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Selflish Podcast, where we promote self-love, self-care, all while extending similar virtues towards others. I am your host, Luke Wynn, with my lovely co-host,
Dayana Wynn.
How are you doing today, Dayana Wynn?
I'm doing really good. Really excited.
What are you excited about?
Our everything, our podcast. I'm really excited about our selfish wear. I'm so excited.
After this long journey, it's
Yes.
finally coming. We
Yes,
officially have a
guys.
date. It's been so long, but I'm
It
really
has
glad.
been.
I'm so glad that we made it here.
Yes, and we were just trying to perfect it for you guys.
And guess what?
Mm.
We reached perfection. And it's going to feel good. It's going to feel like one of those videos on YouTube where they go like this. It's going to feel that
Satisfying.
good. That's how satisfying it's going to be.
I'm glad.
I'm glad too. Okay, so it's late. Are you tired?
A little bit.
I'm a little tired, but I'm never too tired for this.
Yeah, I'm excited. Honestly, for our conversation today, I'm really excited. I love.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I feel like the male version of Robin Roberts right now, which I guess would technically be Barack Obama.
What?
They talk the same. Yeah.
Do they?
They talk very the same. Anyways, welcome you guys. So we are here, and today we're gonna just get to allow you guys to get to know us a lot more, because we come in, I say how she doing, she answers, and I tell her how beautiful she is. But guess what? Her beauty goes way beneath the surface. Way beneath the surface. It's like, like in Alaska, how like the further you dig, you get oil. Her beauty is like oil, because oil is rich.
Should you just stop?
No. Oil is like the richest people in America, or the richest people in the world have control of oil. Exactly.
See
So
what you did
beneath the
there.
surface,
I'm rich.
wealth, riches, perfection, and black. Black Lives Matter. Nothing.
He's very tired.
I'm not very tired. I'm just trying to like make you laugh, and it's not working. I'm making myself laugh. I'm actually amazing at making myself laugh. Anyway, so current events before we get too deep into stuff.
Sorry.
The Chris D'Elia thing. So the Me Too movement made its comeback.
Yeah. Do you guys know who he is?
If they don't worry about it.
He's a comedian.
It's a comedian,
that
and
I don't like.
he had a podcast, and he actually, talked a lot about other pedophiles, R. Kelly,
Which is so
ironic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he was in the show You as a pedophile. So he acted as a pedophile and was they say he's not a pedophile, but he's like, he likes him 18. Like,
No, he likes him
no,
like
like
17.
I think he came out with some more text messages or something like that, clarifying certain things. Like the text message you saw weren't the whole thing. So he had the whole thing, and he's like, the girl said, "Oh, I'm 17," and then he hit her up like 6 months later after she turned 18.
A year later or something like that, which is really weird because wasn't there a few like girls that would say they were underage and he was hitting them up. So
it's weird. It's weird. We're living in a really different society though right now. Like one thing that my mom always told me was like, you can't take back what you do, and like you have to watch what you say in text messages because people have that forever. You can delete it to where people who have your phone can't see it, but there's people
Someone
who
else
have.
will have it.
Yep, which is why I've never sent out any inappropriate text messages ever.
Good job.
And because I'm Christian. Okay, we need to play a fun game. Okay, the game today is to tell your most embarrassing story. Most embarrassing. Let me see. Most embarrassing. My whole life is embarrassing. Let's see. Embarrassing story.
I think
I have an embarrassing story.
Okay.
When I was going through my divorce, I thought we were gonna work things out, but we weren't. And I invited her to church, and she showed up to church with another dude.
Oh.
That's probably the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened in my life.
She was your wife.
Their couples, we were still married. Like she had been living with somebody else for like a month. Yeah, that's probably the most embarrassed I've ever been in my life. Because then the pastor Saxuma, every time he see me, he'd be like, "Hey, where's Jared?" or whatever the dude's name was, and I was like, we weren't really friends. That was her friend. I don't know.
That's
Okay,
weird.
what's
That's
your
awkward.
most embarrassing story?
Oh man, a really embarrassing.
Mine is just a
story.
fat L, by the way. That's like just an L in life.
Okay, so this happened a long time ago, and I was way younger. Okay, so don't judge me.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so now that I look back, it's actually hilarious, and I'm glad it happened because it taught me a huge lesson. So my parents had a small restaurant when we lived in Washington, and one of my cousins, her name is Liz, she would go up there every summer to work, to hang out with us, and she would work with us, and we would cashier together and whatever, and they would pay us probably like $5 an hour, but or just tips, whatever, but we loved it. And also we were just just talking, and this girl that would go to the restaurant quite often, she was there once more, and she ordered her food, and she was really fair. She had a really fair skin, long, and I think her hair was like dyed, colored. It was like red, like a red color, and she looked white. And my mom was there, and I took her order, and just because I just have such an eye for detail. And she had really long hair, but her hair was extremely damaged. Like, she probably tried bleaching it, did all those. Her hair was really, really damaged. And I couldn't help but notice. And after I took her order, I couldn't help but comment and talk to it was between me and my cousin, and she was the only one in the restaurant. It's a really small, only 5 tables. It was really small. So then I started saying, we were like talking like between us, like we were like, oh my god, yeah, so her hair is like super damaged. I know. We were just saying stuff like that, and then all of a sudden my mom decides to ask us, and she was on the other side, which is not too far, maybe like 6 feet away, a little bit more, 10 feet. She was making her food. It was a tiny kitchen, and she was making her food, and Mom was like, what are you guys saying? And I was like, oh my God. But I said it in Spanish because this lady, I was like, she speaks English. So I said it in Spanish, and I was like, oh, we're just saying that she has really damaged hair. She has split ends everywhere. Like, we were saying it loud and proud. Crazy. And then all of a sudden my mom, it was weird because my mom never said anything back. And then all of a sudden she came up to my mom and she's like, can you me puedes dar los tacos or something in Spanish? And I was like, for those of you who could, I was like, trágame tierra. For those of you what that means, I was like, I wanted the earth to literally swallow me. I was like, oh my gosh, never again. And that is probably my most embarrassing story, aside from the other embarrassing stories. But that's probably my most embarrassing one.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm like really embarrassed for you.
It's cringy, I know.
Okay, I have another embarrassing story. One day we were at KFC, because back in the day, like in the early 2000s and the 90s, that's where you went after church sometimes. KFC. We were at KFC, and I thought I saw Alex up at by the cash register. So I walk up to him and I say, what's up? And I slap him in the back of his head. Then I look, and it's not Alex at all. And then his mom is right there looking like, what?
Oh my gosh. That kind of beats your other one.
Yeah, that beats my other one.
You literally smacked a random person.
A random kid. They left. I don't even think they ate. I'm just like, I was like 5'1".
Did you say sorry?
I said, sorry, I thought you were mine. Never mind. Just walked away. Then I looked and saw Alex.
I would have probably smacked you back.
No, they were both confused. They didn't even eat. It ruined their meal. They're like, yo, we don't like, what part of town are we? Even though I was like Ellie's size at like 11. So imagine Ellie but 11 years old. Not threatening at all.
I'm pretty sure you were not Ellie's size.
I probably weighed exactly as much as Ellie weighs right now. Anyways, both my embarrassing stories are actually incredibly embarrassing. And you got it all here.
But they're hilarious, honestly, now that I would look back.
That sucks. But that happens a lot, though. And that's what I'm glad you got that lesson, because it seems like Spanish speakers, they always like talk crap in Spanish. So I love hearing stories where they're talking crap in Spanish, but honestly, it turns out they could speak Spanish. Because one time somebody was talking crap to me in Spanish about me in Spanish, and I said, "¿Qué pasó?" And they got nervous because they thought that I knew
No,
what
we
they were
don't
saying.
always talk crap about people in Spanish.
It seems like it.
No. Maybe we'll talk about you, but not crap. We'll be like, ooh, his hat's really nice. Ooh, so cute.
No, not at
It's the
all.
stuff that I would say about you in Spanish. I don't know.
Okay, well, continuing on. By the way, I always have to say something that I low-key regret saying in every podcast. Because not because it's like I regret it, but because it just didn't hit the way I thought it would hit. Anyways, and I think that's another moment. So let's continue, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about... Oh, wait. Before we talk about what we're going to talk about, we have to talk about our brand. Okay, for those of you guys who are new to our channel, Selflish, you can take this over. Tell us about what Selflish is.
No, you.
Tell our
No,
viewers.
you tell us.
You go ahead and tell us.
Okay, so pretty much selfish means I love you and I love me. Just pretty much caring about others the way that you care about yourself, making sure all this inside, all this is really healthy and you're taking care of yourself. But also, and caring for others the same way.
Yeah.
Kind of like not forgetting about yourself. Making sure that if you're well taken care of, you'll take care of other people.
Exactly.
If you love yourself in a really healthy way, you're gonna love other people in a really healthy way. And because that's a lot of times they don't tell us that. A lot of times we care about everybody else, put everybody else first, and a lot of the times we forget about ourselves. So
Yeah, it seems like a lot of us are raised to we're raised with the mindset of being like hurt, being broken, going through different things, you know? So because of that mentality of feeling like, okay, something bad is happening to me. Well, this always happens to me, you know? Like a lot of times we accept that the worst things are supposed to always happen to us. But what we're really trying to do is like, we don't have to accept failures. We don't have to accept like all the negativity that comes to our lives sometimes. Because sometimes we get to the point where we accept all the negativity, and we give out all the positivity, you know. But we should be able to embrace just as much positive as we give out, you know.
Yeah, it's a perfect balance. Not being selfish, but not being selfless to the point where you don't care about yourself. It's a perfect balance. It's selfish.
Exactly. You have to care about yourself. You have to take care of yourself if you want to take care of others. And that's what we're really about.
Yeah.
Leave a comment if you've ever felt like you were looking for the right word to be.
I'm pretty sure we're not the only ones, guys. Come on.
Yeah, because it's like selfless is praised, selfishness is condemned. It's like, well, how do you have time to work on yourself if, you have to be selfless? So here we are, selfless.
Yep,
Okay, now we can get to the next part. She said it in the mic as if she's...
What's the next?
You just did this. Oh, okay, we can move on now. Okay, so we're going to talk about us today. Because you guys have been seeing us here every week. This is our 8th episode. I think this is our 6th week. And we really haven't gotten a chance to give you guys more information on who we are, you know? So today, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm sorry, I was holding in a burp. So we're going to start with my lovely wife, Dayana Wynn. Tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? What do you like? The floor is yours.
Okay.
And you should probably look in the camera so that you can tell them.
My name's Dayana. It used to be Dayana Infante, but now it's Dayana Wynn. I have a 6-year-old boy and a 2-month-old little baby girl. And I am Mexican. I have a huge family. There's 11 of us. No, 12 because my parents adopted my cousin. So there's 12 of us. 8, how many girls? 8 girls now? 4 boys. I know it's a huge family and I love it. And the family just keeps growing. What else can I say?
Tell us about like who you are, your interests and stuff.
Oh, I think what defines me the most or what people know me for the most, I think it would be my faith. I am really passionate about my faith, what I believe. I really am very passionate about helping people, and helping people. That's I love sharing with people. I love sharing good things that I learned in life. I love sharing my experiences so that other people can take whatever they can from it and learn from it. That's who I am.
Nice to meet you. I'm sure they're really pleased to meet you as well. I like how calm you got when you started talking about yourself. So was it my turn?
Yeah. What about you?
Okay.
Tell us about you.
I am Jeremiah Luke Wynn. I say that because my wife and her family call me Jeremiah. My family calls me Luke or Lukey. And the rest of the world, it depends on when I met you. You either call me Luke or Jeremiah. But you guys, you can call me Luke. I am married. I am 27 years old, I believe. Am I 27?
Yes.
I'm 27 years old. I have 2 kids. This is my lovely wife, Dayana. I am a Christian. I'm saved, sanctified, fire baptized, filled with the Holy Ghost. I'm foot stomping, hand clapping.
Tongue talking.
No. I am a music producer, an artist, a rapper, a singer, a writer, a mixing engineer. I am an assistant pastor. My life is I take on a lot of different roles. I like to write, and what else? I play the drums, the piano. I'm a dad. I said that already, but I'm starting to take on those roles and that identity of being a father. For example, my stomach has been getting bigger lately. Let's see, what else can I say? I'm a really passionate person. I'm the kind of person who does not ever want to give up for some reason.
And I love that.
She loves it. Sometimes I'm just like, I just want to give up.
I do. You know why? Because I give up way too easily. I'm like literally on the other extreme, like the other end. And that's why we
don't give up on us, okay? God's got us.
Except for us. God's teaching me how to not give up through this relationship.
Perfect. I'm a really loving person. I'm a patient person. Some people think I'm not patient because I have the tendency to make faces. And I also have the tendency to, the way I respond when I'm passionate, sometimes I can be taken as impatient. But I'm a really patient person. I'm an extremely gracious person. I try to allow people to feel the same grace that I've felt in my life, because I made mistakes in my life. And not only has God forgiven me, but it's like my family know like some of the biggest mistakes that I've ever made in my life. And they've still embraced me with warmth and with love. And because of that, I'm able to show that same love and grace towards other people. What else? I'm trying to be a rapper. Got some music. Got some music on iTunes, Spotify. Currently streaming myself. I'm up to like 500,000 streams. I can let them know because if anybody gets this far into the podcast, I love you guys. And you guys deserve to know. What else about me? I'm 6'4.5", and I don't just say that.
You want all that information?
I'm just saying you guys can know. My blood type is O negative. Okay, I'm just joking. I have no idea what it is. And what else?
You wear glasses?
I wear glasses. I can't see beyond this. Without my glasses, I cannot see beyond this mic. Like everything gets blurry. It's actually do you know what it's like? It's like if you have a camera and it's blurry and you fix it to like zoom to like make something clear. It's like for my eyes without glasses, it never becomes clear. It stays blurry. So this is clear, but that can never get into focus. Anyways, and I think that's pretty much me. I don't play video games. I like basketball. Is there anything else I'm missing? I like eating. I love eating.
I think I like eating.
I love eating a lot. Eating is a hobby.
I eat his leftovers, guys. Guys, I really do.
Not because I allow her.
Yes, huh? You literally leave food on your plate. I always
No. As I'm eating, if I'm eating and I'm chewing, you say, "Oh, he left that," and then you eat it. That's not even like just now tonight. I was just rocking our baby to sleep. And then I look over at you all on my plate.
No,
Eating my food, and then you
I
look back like Ellie.
I
like,
looked at you to make sure it was okay for me to eat that
yeah, and I did this.
because it was sitting there. Okay, my husband has this weird thing. Okay, I don't understand, and that's why it confuses me because we're eating and he will literally stop eating. He stops eating
To talk, to socialize, to let it digest because I have a small
which
body.
is weird. I'm sorry. His food gets cold, and then I'll be like, "You're done, right?" No, I'm still eating. Even though it's a little bit, it's cold, everything, but he's still eating. So that makes me think he's done, but I guess he's not.
Proving my point that she does not eat my leftovers. She just takes
Yes.
what I'm not done eating yet. Anyways, food is like a hobby. And my people that eat, that's one. I'm hecka good at eating.
So
I'm so good at eating. The other day I was trying to figure out what am I really, really good at. I'm good at eating. I should try to get a career in like eating or something.
oh my gosh,
It'd be really nice.
very nice.
Okay, so that's us, Luke and Diana. Okay, so now one question we have from one of our subscribers was they want to know about like how we met and our first date.
Oh,
Yeah. So
we love this story.
since you guys want to know so bad, baby, you can start us off, or do you want me to start off? Actually, I think you can start us off because well, you can pretty much talk about like before you actually made that first phone call.
So it all started January 2017. It was really cold. Okay, so 2017. It started when we were at church, and my dad's a pastor, and I wanted to help out with some of the ministries. I wanted to be part of like the ministry that helps out like the community, all that stuff, feeding the homeless. I like doing all that stuff, and I had great ideas, and I wanted, one of them was to go to jail and like, or have like, you know, maybe write letters or, you know, to some people, whatever we could do. And my dad was giving out like, what would you call them? Positions? Pretty much. Like assigning people to these different ministries because it was time to like get new people in. And I was not chosen. Somebody else was, but it was really fun. And I was kind of sad. But I don't think I had to mention to my dad that I really wanted to be in charge of it. I don't know why he didn't even think I'm his daughter. But anyway, he chose somebody else, and I was really bummed out. And throughout my whole life, I've given so many rides, you guys, to a lot of places, including church, Bible studies, work, you know, the bank, the doctor's office. But anyway, so this lady who got the part, which is really interesting because she does not speak English, but she got it. And anyways, when they chose her, I was bummed out. And then eventually she was like, but Pastor, I don't speak English. And my dad's like, I was like, I can translate. And then he was like, okay. And then the lady's like, Pastor, I don't have a car though. And I was like, I'll take it. I'll be your ride. And then eventually, yeah. So I don't know what happened. Sorry, guys. My son was asleep and he just woke up and he's talking. I think he's talking in his sleep. It's a little
Okay, go on. He did that yesterday. That was loud. Okay, go on.
okay. And okay, and then eventually something happened. She just never could do anything. I don't know. So eventually my dad was like, hey, Diana, guess what? You're up, girl. So I was like, oh my gosh, me okay. I guess I'll take it. So then the first thing I just wanted to, it was just in the back of my mind for a long, long time. I was like, I'm going to go to the jail just to be part of the ministry, maybe start doing services there in Espanol, in Spanish. And so I called and I got transferred to him.
Chaplain Jeremiah.
Chaplain Jeremiah. Do you want to take
Okay.
it?
So she called me and she seemed like really young on the phone. And I'm a chaplain, so I've been the youngest person.
Really young.
I've been the youngest person in this field since I've been there. And I think up to that point, I was there for about 7 months. So when she calls, I'm just completely playful with her on the phone for some random reason. I'm like, hey, what do you like to do? She told me who she's with. She said it in Spanish, like her church name, like Iglesia Apostolica, whatever she said. I was like, can you slow down? Like, it was so fast, you know. And then I asked her if she can preach over the phone.
And I could not believe it. I was like, is this guy for real or is he joking? Like, I don't know what to think. Is this really a chaplain?
It was so unprofessional. I have been really professional. I was wearing ties like every day. I have no idea why I felt so like relaxed with you, even on the first phone call. But I was trying to get her to ease up because she was really like, she seemed like she was really nervous, you know. So, I gave her the call and we set up a date when she can come in, so that I can like, you know, explain to her everything that she would need and stuff. And then so that was the first time we talked over the phone. And then when the day she came in, I was pretty much so we were only supposed to talk about you know, the application process. We needed her mission statement, we needed the purpose for the church, we needed the ministry, and we also needed like 4 other volunteers to come with her. That's what we were supposed to discuss. But we somehow ended up talking for like 4 hours. No, it was probably at least 2 hours. We talked for a lot.
2-3 hours.
Yeah, she came to the jail with Ellie, and we talked for like 2 or 3 hours. You can take it from there.
Okay, I have to tell them the part where I made sure I was wearing like no makeup.
Try to get a little closer.
I made sure I looked busted. Let's just say that, because I was like, was this guy flirting with me over the phone or what? I was like, I'm not gonna let anybody, you know, just take my attention off from what I'm trying to do for the Lord, all this stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna make sure I wear this huge, like this coat that covers my body, just sneakers and my hair up, and I'm taking my kid.
And she had a hat on.
Yeah, I had a hat on, and I've never worn one ever after that. I don't think you've ever seen me with that ever. Okay. I did it on purpose, and yeah, it's really funny. So yeah, we had an amazing conversation, and I cried.
Yeah.
And then when I left, I was like, I was so embarrassed. I was like, why did I cry? As you guys will see, I cry all the time. But we just had such a good conversation. Yeah. I was like, what? I just told him my entire life, and I just met this guy. This is so embarrassing. He's gonna think I'm a weirdo. It was crazy. Yeah,
it's crazy because like the conversation was so good to me. I was just like, yo, like we were both clear, like we were not trying to get into any type of relationship. We literally said that, like, we are so far from thinking about relationships and thinking about boyfriend and girlfriend.
I never want to get married ever again. And he said the same thing. Like, oh my God, married?
Yeah, we're like, we're focusing on me. You know, like we clicked so immediately. It was ridiculous. And then she ended up coming to the jail 2 more times to, you know, just figure out the application and stuff like that. And each time we talked, well, the second time we talked for probably like an hour and a half. The third time we talked, it was like 30 minutes because she was really just coming to give me the paperwork. But in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, I really need her in my life at least as a friend, because this is an amazing person, and I'm going to regret not being friends with her because I've never met anybody who I'm so in sync with and in tune with in my life, you know? We'll take a pause real quick. Okay. So I knew that as contacts and volunteers come into the jail, it could take 6 months to a year for them to actually come in and actually start doing visits and stuff. So I was like, I do not want to lose contact with this woman. Like, she was just such an amazing person. Like, the conversations we had, it was awesome. So I devised a plan, and I knew I was going to say this to her. So I knew we had the last meeting, and we didn't schedule any other meetings. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, what can I say to get her number and to try to do something, you know? So she tells me that her piano player is going to be going out of town, and she has to learn how to, you know, she wants to learn how to play the piano so that, you know, she can fill in for her church. I said, as I told you guys earlier, I can play the piano. I went to college. I took jazz piano classes. I can help you. You know, we should like do a lesson or something. And she was like, I would love that, you know? So I was trying not to come off like a creeper because I'm still a chaplain, which is, so I gave her my phone number. I said, look, call me or text me or something like that if you're serious about it. Only if you're serious. Don't waste my time or your time. And then she said, sure thing, cool. So her and Ellie, because he was with her all 3 times, they left. I went down to the office. I think the next day she emailed me asking for my number because she lost it. I was like, oh, she doesn't care about me, But then I gave her my phone number and then we started texting that day. And then, did we FaceTime that day?
He FaceTimed me that day, guys.
She sent me a picture of a book and I had one of those books. And I was like, yo, like I have to FaceTime her because we're so in sync. It's so crazy.
And it was so awkward though. Because first of all, I don't think I had ever FaceTime anyone.
That's hecka funny.
And it was just weird. No, how is that weird?
FaceTime had been out for like at least 4 years.
I don't like, it's just awkward. Why would I FaceTime anybody? I didn't really like being on the phone, period. I like texting and that's it. I didn't like calling people or talking to people, especially when you have a kid and he's little. You can't really talk on the phone. It's hard.
Anyway, so she was FaceTiming me and the whole time she was just kissing her son who was about 6 years old.
It was awkward.
And he was like,
I was just
oh, my baby. I was like, you really love your boy.
I do. I still do.
Yeah, clearly. Anyway, so from that conversation, we set it up. So we said, okay, on Saturday, after you go to work, we can meet at Barnes and Nobles and I can give you your first lesson. And I really had like notes and music theory and all kind of stuff.
He had a whole book for me.
Yep. And we met at Barnes and Nobles.
Mm-hmm.
You can go.
And I was extremely nervous, you guys. I was really, really shy.
What time was it? It was probably
really
like 10 o'clock.
It was really early. I don't know. It was early though, and I was like super nervous because by this time I think we could tell like that we were like attracted to each other, like we knew it, but it was just like not spoken.
Yeah.
So I was like super shy, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's really cute, and I was like, I think he likes me. So it was just. Yeah, so we had the lesson, and he was actually
gave her like music theory, let her know about the notes, the bar, the staff, like really like getting into it.
Like lesson. It was a good lesson, and then
we went to Guitar Center to try to like apply what we had just learned.
Yes, because we were like, I think it was just he was just trying not to be like, okay, let's go to my house because I got a piano there because I didn't have one. So I don't think he wanted to say that. He didn't want to be
that would have been weird.
Come over to my house. I got a piano there.
Yeah, because I'm still a chaplain, which is way too close to priest.
So he's like, how about Guitar Center? I was like, okay, Guitar Center's perfect.
Yeah.
And we went there and he taught me something.
I think I probably thought dun 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 da 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 da, and we actually ended up running into her piano player who was supposed to be leaving.
Isn't that hilarious? Yeah,
it was really interesting. It was really interesting. So then after that, we were like, well, I literally have nothing else to do.
Yeah, I think we just really saw that we really liked hanging out with each other. So we were gonna leave, and then we're just like, so.
Yeah.
Do you want to go get something to eat? Okay, and then from there, guys and girls, you guys know. It's just
no, because that's the date. Like, so then we went to sushi.
Yeah.
And at sushi, she like was trying her hardest to embarrass me. For some reason, she was acting so silly. I was so loud. I was the most exaggerated form of myself that I could possibly be.
He pushed my chair to the middle of the middle like where people walk, like. He just like pushed me and left me there. It was really embarrassing. But at the same time, I loved it. Because I had so much fun with him.
Yeah, she helped me take my bumper up in my car and everything too. Like,
yeah,
she was cool. Like it was the coolest thing ever. Did you pay for food or you?
No,
did we split the check?
I don't think so.
Because you was not trying to have.
I don't remember.
I don't know. Either way it goes, she was like the perfect date because she was not embarrassed at anything we did. Then after that, we wanted to go get a smoothie. So we went to, what's that place downtown? By the park. We went to some smoothie place. Because the sushi guy, he said, he plays guitar and he was going to be performing at this thing downtown. There's like a sushi thing.
Yeah, that place.
Can't think of the name, but so we ended up going there. Java Jungle or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we just hung out, and then the rest is here. The funniest part about this whole thing is that between that 3 weeks, she was trying to volunteer. She was trying to volunteer at the jail to do services. She didn't pass the background check. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened in her criminal history, but she didn't pass. She didn't pass the background check, so she never actually ended up stepping foot in the jail past that. And then she also has only ever had one piano lesson, which leads me to think that she did this to get with me this whole time.
Did I?
This was all your plot.
No, actually, around that time, I was just trying to be like just trying to discover myself and just try to do things. I was trying to do different things, and I actually did want to learn how to play the piano. I love the piano. But somehow it worked, guys. It was bait.
It's just dope how God kind of orchestrated everything to where it's we're both thinking that we're going into something for one thing, and then we're married with 2 kids.
We're married with 2 kids. Oh, baby. It's crazy. I love our story, and I love talking about it. And it just gives me butterflies when I think about it.
Yeah, it's really good. We definitely spent a lot of time at Barnes & Nobles back in the day. But
we did not want to leave each other, guys, that day.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time. It was just because even I think sushi, we had to wait for 30 minutes, so we just listening to the music in the car, just waiting and stuff like that.
He's so talented. Oh my gosh.
She said that then, but then later on, she said I showed her one song that she acted like she loved, and she was like, "The words don't make any sense." So I think you just trying to get with me this whole time.
Should we tell him what song that was?
No, because there's not they're ever gonna hear it.
I know, but should we tell him what the song was about?
No. Anyways, all I'm saying is she was trying to get... But it sounds nice, which is how music is. The words don't really make any sense, but the harmonies are beatific.
I guess.
Anyways. Yeah, so that was how we met, and that's, we're going to talk... That's the good story. The proposal was lame because... Okay, so the proposal... The proposal... Let's have the proposal real quick. So she pretty much knew she was going to get proposed to because I told her to get her nails done and because
I love surprises, and I'm not easily surprised because
my whole family was in town. I told her we're going to have a nice date on Black Friday. Yeah, it's
and then my family kept saying, you need to get ready.
Yeah. So
you need to make sure you look nice. I was just like.
Yeah. So she was freaking out the whole time, and she was like, no, I'd rather be single with Ellie than married or whatever. And then I come into the house, and her sisters are these are girls, you know how women are. They all have these frowns like, ooh, good luck. So I was like, forget this.
I hope she says yes.
No, they were like Raquel was straight up. She said she'd rather be with Ellie than marry you. She wants to be single. I was like, okay, thanks. Then Gabe was like, are you ready? I'm like, fam, you see what's going on right now. She's not even dressed. Anyway, so I picked her up. And we had a very long car ride because I was like, I'm not about to embarrass myself, and I don't really want to waste our time.
He's like, are you going to say yes?
So the whole car ride, I was acting like I was going to propose, but then acting like I wasn't going to propose.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then we pulled up to the restaurant. I said, for real, both our families are in there right now. But if you say that you're not going to say yes, we don't have to do this at all. Because I didn't want to put all that pressure on you. I can just call my mom. Hey, 911, it's over. She says, no, yes, I do want it. I said, just kidding. They're not there. And I don't even have a ring.
No, you guys. But let's clarify. I was just really scared. Honestly, I was scared because of my previous marriage. Because I was honestly so happy dating him that I was like, oh my gosh, as soon as we're married, it's going to be horrible. So I was extremely, extremely scared. I wish we could redo that day.
I like it. I think how everything played out, it was important for our life.
Yeah. It just sucks that I'm like, I ruined it because I was scared. I've always been so scared about everything, about new things. So I feel like I ruined it. I ruined it because I started crying.
She cried and held on to her mom, and I was just
I was like a baby.
She was bawling, holding on to her mom, and I was like this at the table.
The
So
good thing that
anybody have any juice?
I think people thought I was crying because I was really happy. So
They were all happy for it, and I was like, that is not tears of happiness right there.
It was
That is tears of fright.
Yeah, I was just so scared, but at the same time, I was. And the ring was so beautiful.
And everybody enjoyed themselves that night. Except like we're just sitting there kind of like, yeah. But
look at us now. We had a beautiful wedding, and
yeah, it's just
we're so happy.
And eventually we'll get into like everything deeper. But I think I really like just how our lives have played out. You know, the good, the bad. There was no ugly because you're in it. I think a lot of times we don't realize, and the reason why I really want to talk about our story is the fact that a lot of times God has purpose in things that we don't really understand.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you almost didn't even go to the jail, like had the other lady actually took that role in that position, and if she had a car and could speak English, me and you never would have met, but because you ended up getting into that position because of where your heart was at, we ended up coming together. And it's like, I have so much peace in knowing that if I never do anything great in my life, potentially we got together so that Faith can do something in her life, or Faith's kid can do something and change the world, like it's so much deeper than what we really think. And I think a lot of times when we live our lives with the purpose that we have in mind, we are like, sometimes we're like afraid for it to evolve, or we're afraid to let certain things go. For example, and we're going to go deeper into this purpose stuff, but I want to tell the story of like when growing up, I grew up playing the drums. In my mind, the drums were everything. I always wanted to be a drummer. So when I was 16, I got into this drum contest because I really in my mind, I wanted to be the greatest drummer of all time. Like that was who I wanted to be. And I lost, and it sucks because if you guys hear my last album, you guys know why, but I lost and I felt like I left my family down. But because that was such a huge piece of my identity, I felt like if I was going to succeed in my life, it was going to be through drums, And then a couple years later, I try again, I lose again. And then the year after that, I try one more time and I lose again, And I remember my dad, he came and he told me like, look, I think God has something greater for you, in your life. And a lot of times what happens when we're seeking to have like a purpose in our life and to fulfill something, a calling, or we're trying to fulfill a mission in our life, we want to hold on to things so tight when it's like we don't really know when it's time to like let it go and to evolve, We think we're giving up, but really it's, well, I started out wanting to play the drums and then my purpose evolved into just music, So in your life, what do you think has what do you think has been the biggest obstacle for your purpose in your life? Like
my fear of everything. Fear.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've been afraid to do anything. I was always afraid of everything. I mean, I've told you the stories about I've never really slept by myself because I was always so scared of sleeping alone, even when I was kind of grown. It's kind of embarrassing, but I was just always so scared. I was always scared to be alone. I've always been scared to try for change, or just to take big like leaps into something new when it comes to like a life-changing decision. Like I've always been
like the engagement, right?
Yeah. Like I've just always been so scared.
What has helped you to persevere through these things? Like, how'd you get over that fear, or is that something you're still working through?
I feel like it's something that I'm still working through, but I'm definitely, but it's not like, but back then it was like I would freeze fear. Like I would freeze when in any situation. I would cry. I would just freeze, and I would always go to my parents. I would always go to someone else to help me with my fear or to ignore it. But I feel like God has helped me a lot to overcome my fears, and just honestly, God has helped me. Like he takes all the credit. My relationship with God, me praying and him showing me like that I need to trust him, and me trusting him that I'm gonna be okay. Just try it. Just try this. Just try that. even if it's uncomfortable, just keep pushing. And a lot of times I started seeing that little by little. I would try different things, trying new things. um Me going to cosmetology school, which was a very, very difficult task for me to do. Honestly, even though I'm not doing any of that right now, but I feel like I had to do that.
Yeah.
Like it, I had to do it, and I feel like for many reasons. And it was really hard, and sometimes I felt like I couldn't do it, and of course I was scared when I started, but I felt like God was just like, keep going, keep pushing, pushing, pushing. And there's just different situations when he just kept saying, even though you're scared, it's okay to be scared. Just keep going. And then you would finish, and then all of a sudden you were like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
That wasn't as scary. And now I think that's kind of how I started getting through it. Just pushing,
Yeah.
even if I was scared.
Yeah. I think the craziest part about about life, right, is the fact that we have so many bad examples. It's like you can look on TV and see all the good examples on how to make it, how to succeed. But when you look around you, you have so many bad examples that it can give you a sense of fear that's even bigger. Like if you already innately have certain fears, like you going off of your own life experiences, plus the people you see around you, it kind of gives you that sense of fear, like, okay, I can never do it. Or why would I, put myself out there when I've never seen anybody accomplish this, When you're trying to do something completely new to what you see, it's really hard. One thing that when I was teaching in middle school, this little kid, I told him, hey, you should, get good grades so you can do something. What do you want to do when you grow up? No, I said, you should do your math, like get good grades. He said, why? I'm just going to be a painter. My dad's a painter. That's all I'm going to do. Why do I need to know math for that, And it just shows you how boxed in we become based on our surroundings.
Yes.
So it's like when you have fears of, like, for example, just the whole engagement thing, right? You have fears of your marriage. You have fears because of other people's marriages who you may have viewed and never seeing like the perfect example of what a marriage is like. It just causes that fear to just keep building up. And then everything it enables your fear that you already have based on what you already experienced, So I think the one thing to do for me in order to persevere through fear is you have to have something to just hold on to help you, a constant thing that you can keep going back to, a constant reminder. Because a lot of times I don't have fear when it comes to like my purpose and things like that, but I just have I feel like because I've wasted so much time already, that I wonder how much more time I'm just going to keep wasting, and at what point is it going to work out, And because of that, it's not fear, but it's hopelessness, honestly. A hopelessness feeling that tries to come over me to make me feel like you've been doing this for 10 years, nothing's happening. You've been trying this, nothing's happening. And that's really what comes in between me and my purpose, is a feeling of just feeling hopeless. Like, I tried so many things already and nothing's really worked out. Like, what more can I do, But what really encourages me is just reflecting on the position that God has put me in, like I'm not in a high position, but understanding like the abilities that he's given me, understanding that, what I've done and how people feel when I do music and when they do hear me speak to them and stuff like that. Like you always can, like whenever you're in that element of your purpose, you can always see people who react a certain kind of way that make you feel like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, What do you think your purpose is right now?
My purpose is right now, like in this season, or
just in this season of your life, what's like the main purpose you're trying to focus on?
Growing. Honestly, as a person, for some reason, like I feel like I was taken through this season of healing, and I think I'm still there. I don't think it takes a while. But I think right now I've been for some reason, I've just been really interested in growing as a person, just becoming better and learning how to forgive, and just learning how to grow past situations, learning how to grow past hurt, just growing as a person, like as a wife, as a daughter, just becoming better. I'm like, now I have that mindset of right now, like, you can really always be better. There's always something you can work on, even though you might not be from, I'm not going to be a whole different person or perfect, you know, I'm never going to reach that goal, but just, I can take it one thing at a time. And I think growth is a big, a big purpose right now. And yeah, or my purpose, I don't know, I don't know if I answered that correctly.
No, it's however you feel, you like what your purpose is right now.
Yeah, honestly, that's what it
good.
is. But I feel like the reason behind that is, I know that it's because I'm because I want to help others. I'm aware that I need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's,
it's like you realize you're in a preparation stage.
yes,
which is totally
I'm
fine.
in a preparation stage. I really do believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I told you when I just dropped my EP, I said this isn't the one, but I feel like the next one that I do is gonna be the one. You know, a lot of times that's good to really understand what season you're at. You know, because some people think they're in the season of time to help everybody else or time to do, you know, put everybody else for. But if God is trying to allow you to grow and be selfless, you know, that's what's going to really help you to where when you do get to that point where people are coming to you and you're ministering to people and you're speaking to people, you're not going to only be ready for it, but you're going to have confidence in the fact that you've been preparing for it. You know, that's why we practice. That's why we work hard when nobody's looking, because then when everybody's looking, you're not going to drop the ball, you know?
And I think looking back, I try to do everything backwards. I was always trying to help people. If you would ask me, like, what's your passion? I literally would, the only thing I could think of was people. I'd be like, my passion is people. I love people. I just love stories. I love life. I love stuff like that. And so any time that I would see somebody broken or hurting, I felt like it was my job to fix them, which is totally not a correct way of seeing things. I know, like, I had good intentions, but it was not, I was just not ready. And I could see how a lot of things didn't go right because of that. And I forgot about myself and just did not care about myself. And I think that now through this whole process, a lot of things have happened. And now I think I'm doing it the right way, which is this preparation, healing, being prepared. And
and it's like, and that's what, like, right now, like, us, like, starting this brand and stuff, I feel like because of where we both have gone through and the conversations that we've had and how we both have grown even up to this point, I feel like this idea of being selfish, it is like a purpose for both of us, you know, because even inadvertently, like what you just said, you were so focused on helping everybody else that you were hurting on the inside, you know, you were backwards, you know, and that's what this brand is all about. It's about, like, correcting that so that before you start trying to help others, you can be helped first, you know? And I feel like our journey together has brought us to this point where it's like, yes, I'm still doing music, you know, I'm still doing ministry and stuff, but I feel like this is a new undertaking that God has given me, because this whole idea is something completely new, but it's something that can really, like, save lives, and meaning people who are broken and who are hurting, who don't understand that it's all right to, you know, to work on yourself and not do it with a selfish intent. Like, it'll help them, you know? So I'm really grateful for, like, where God has us, and I'm grateful for our stories. Like, you know, we're so in love, and sometimes we're like, oh, sometimes you'll be like, oh, I wish we could have met, like, you know, 10 years ago or whatever. But it's just like, I'm so glad for us. We met at the exact right time. You know, even though we both were still going through our stuff, we met at the exact right time. And it's like, you see God's purpose in that. And that purpose has led us to this brand, you know, and hopefully this brand is something that really can change the world, or can at least change one person who can change the world or impact somebody, you know. That's really what my hopes are for this, you know, and just for what we're doing right now, for our relationship, for our marriage, for our family, just showing the world, like, you know, like, you can be selfish, you know, and also, like, I keep saying, like, a lot. I'm like rambling. I'm sorry, but I just want to really, like, just show people and emphasize this idea of being selfish. You don't have to, you don't have to nurse someone who's broken, who's hurting you, while you're broken. You can fix yourself first, and then help them. And even with purpose, sometimes we have to sacrifice certain relationships in order to get to where we need to get.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to be selfish, but that's so that when you get there, you can pull them back up too.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're both drowning, how is anybody going to save anyone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you thinking? This is your topic. What else do you think? Like, what else do you have on this one?
I'm not sure where to take it from here.
Okay, we'll take it. We're almost done, but sorry. Okay, so one thing that I want to say was this question that we have is, what's the difference between goodness? I keep burping. What's the difference between resistance that you have to fight through, and understanding that it's time for your purpose to evolve? Because I think this is hard. Because honestly, I don't want to be that guy who's 50 years old still trying to put out a mixtape. Like,
okay, why don't you answer that question first?
Okay, so for me, I think I don't know, because like I'm like really really stubborn, and it's so hard for me to give up. So I'm probably like the worst person to ask this for. But I think after a while, you have to just reflect. You have to really reflect and see how things are going. And I think if you set a goal, and I think one thing that we do not do, we set goals and we have the main success. Like, okay, I want to put out this thing, I want to put this album out, and I want to sell 1 million records. One thing that we're really not taught is milestones. If you're not watching the milestones, you'll think that you're not growing when you actually are. So I think sometimes, like, if you're thinking that there's resistance, it might not necessarily be resistance, but it's just harder it's not as easy getting to where you want to go. So meaning this, like, if my goal was I want to sell 1 million records, right? I can't just be like, oh my gosh, I haven't sold 1 million records yet. And everything else, because I'm not there yet, everything else is completely like blurred. You have to set the milestone of, okay, I just sold 10 records. Cool. Now I sold 100 records. Cool. And then see your growth like that. If it's been years and years and years and you've never gotten to the 10 records, then it's time to, see how you can evolve to adjust to what you're trying to do. But a lot of times we don't really set milestones, so we don't know whether there's a resistance or not. We just see the big picture, which is, okay, I want the big house. But it's like, where did you start and what are the small time goals? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
About your answer?
No, about like just resisting versus knowing when to give up.
Honestly, I don't know my answer. Like, I almost like don't want to answer this, but because I don't know
Just in your own opinion.
Honestly, in my own opinion, I'm such a feeling person that I just like to feel things out. I don't know how to describe it other than that, which is probably like not what you guys want to hear, but I just feel things out, and there's just, to me, like, whenever there's like this little thing that will tell me like that if I want to give up on it, like there'll be this little thing that will be like, no, like it won't let me. Like I don't know. It's just a feeling.
Yeah.
I literally don't know what else to tell you. And to be honest, that's only happened a few times because, like I said, the whole fear thing, because of the whole fear thing, I've never really been a person who would try like crazy things out like that in my life. I don't know. I don't even know if I should say that. Just try it out, like big life changes. I would always stop because I was always so scared to try things. Yeah. It's only been a few years where I started trying things that are way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that's the only experience that I can tell you that I've had with me trying to push through things. And I've honestly gone through just a feeling like there's always something in me that just tells me to keep going or just to kind of give up. Because most of the time I would give up. Honestly, my first instinct is to give up on stuff.
Yeah.
But I've had to learn to keep going, to fight through it.
How do you feel that being selfish can really like tying everything back together, how do you think being selfish can help for those who are trying to fulfill like their purpose in life?
How do I feel selfish can
How being selfish can help people accomplish their goals and fulfill their purpose?
in so many ways. Uh, because when you take care of yourself, things start lining up. When you start um, paying attention to what your needs are, um, you just eventually it just leads. It kind of just things start lining up, and you start seeing things more clearly to where you want to go, what to do next.
Yeah.
You just don't have all that stuff in the back of your head, in your mind. I mean, at least that's how I felt. I felt like I was gonna go crazy for many years. There's always there was always chaos. Everything was just chaos, and I could not think clearly, and I could not make decisions. And I was always like, "What about this? What about that? What if I do this? What if this goes wrong? What if this?" And I would never do anything. I would just freeze. And so I think that kept me from getting to my goals. That's the answer that I can give you. And I think that if you take care of that, take care of yourself, you can have a clear mind and make goals and make plans and work for them without having things in the way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think even on the opposite end, like, I feel like one thing I don't touch on enough is the fact that, like, you love yourself, but in loving others, you can also fulfill the purpose that you have. You know, like you said, you do want to help other people. You love helping people. You know, you love people. So like after you've taken care of yourself, being selfish is gonna automatically help cause you to take care of others as well. You know, but it's just gonna be in the proper place. You know, so I think being selfish, it can do so much for just your goals, because you're gonna understand that there's certain sacrifices that have to be made, you know, but you can do it with a sense of love. Like, you might have to sacrifice a friendship for the time being, you know, like if you're going to college and if you're in law school or you're doing something that's going to take time, sometimes you have to, you know, a lot of people go to college and they leave their family. They go to a different city or a different state for school. You know, that's a sacrifice, but it's being selfish, because you understand that what you're going to do is not going to only benefit you, but benefit all those who are around you, you know. So I think being selfless really is the key to life and God.
Honestly, it's a perfect balance.
Yeah, it's the perfect balance. Okay, so we're about over an hour. So it's late, and actually it's going to be early when we post this. But thank you for everybody who's been tuning in with us. We're so glad that we got to share our story with you. And also just, you know, we wanted to really touch on just the purposes that we have, because a lot of times we kind of like live our lives aimlessly, not focused on where we can, you know, focus on our purpose. That sounds crazy, but basically we live our lives so aimless that we never take the time to really identify what we want to do in our lives and what our purpose wants to be. So when you're selfish, you take a moment to figure out, okay, where do I want to be in my life? What do I want to do? You know, you'll be able to redirect what you're doing, and you won't be as aimless.
But, you know, it's not, and I feel like there's just like so much to say about this topic. This is like only this, like scratching the surface, but I feel like it's not always about what you want to do. It's about being honest in what you can do. I think the purpose, because I feel like a lot of times we might get lost wanting to be a supermodel, wanting to be, when that's not really our thing.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. I think that's why I said there's so much that goes into it. But yeah, I think we lose focus also on what we can offer and what we do have and the tools that we were given in with our personalities, with our talents and all that stuff. And I feel like that's a whole nother thing. Just like when we start looking at ourselves and really be just examining who we are, we can figure out what our purpose is. Because a lot of times we don't, honestly, even if you think about it, we don't really know. Because it's like, okay, I want to be this, but it's like, am I really going to be a movie star? Like, you know, so it's like, okay, what's something that you're good at? What's something, you know, just kind of start thinking about another thing. Like, I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, like I said, being selfless, loving yourself and having concern for yourself and caring about yourself. You're going to identify who you are first,
Yes.
you know? A lot of people get lost in trying to imitate others and they never find out who they are.
Try to imitate others or try to find their identity in a person.
Yeah.
Like, make sure you know who you are. And I feel like that's the first step to finding out what your purpose is. Because I know that everyone in this world has a purpose and everyone always has that question in the back of their mind. I know it. I know at the end of the day, we're like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What's the point of living? Yeah. There is a point of living. You have a purpose. I have a purpose. And I feel like the first step is finding your identity, knowing to get who you are. And then that'll lead you to your purpose. I believe that.
Amen. Amen. So that's our show today. We love you, Selflish. I don't know why I keep forgetting to say Selflish in the beginning of the podcast. Because I feel like I don't know how many people make it this far. But to everybody who does, because Jay watched the last episode and Angel did too. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, everybody, July 1st, that's when the brand it's officially launching July 1st. And podcasts are going to be on Mondays now. We'll try this out. Let us know what you think. Put your purpose in the comments. If there's anything you have any questions about or any comments, come on, just let us know that you're listening and let us know that you're watching and you're getting something out of it. Like and subscribe and click like right here, I think. Okay. Peace out.
Peace out.
8 towns down.